It's Platt, and today we let the dog out. That's next to Platt's Beer of the Week. So the particular beer we have today is the Pecan Porter, or if you're from the South, Pecan Porter, from the fine folks at Laughing Dog Brewing. Laughing Dog, a little background on them, was founded by Michelle and Fred Colby back in 2005. The brewery is located in Ponderay, Idaho, near the Canadian border. It's just blocks away from lovely Lake Pin Oriole. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad. The Laughing Dog for Laughing Dog Brewery was actually the family dog Ben. They use his likeness and image as part of the logo, but also on some of the beer labels. And you'll see, might be hard to see, that's Ben the family dog, a golden retriever, I believe. The brewery itself is a 15-barrel system. They really emphasize their use of the fresh Idaho water. And if you've ever been up to Idaho in that area of the world, it's absolutely beautiful. Now, I don't know if the water's any better, but it looks nice. So that is definitely a nice selling point. The brewery itself, their logo is they want to create fetchingly good beer, obviously play on the dog thing. Apparently, Michelle and Fred's main idea was they wanted to produce little hoppier beers, kind of more in that classic Northwestern style. They have a tap room that's open daily from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. And of course, they are dog friendly, either out on the patio or inside. They do ask if you visit, though, to keep the dog on the leash. They have a full menu at the tap room: wings, burgers, sandwiches, salads. A little more than your standard bar fare, but nothing too crazy. As far as where you could find their beers, they're generally distributed in the northwest of the U.S., some here in the southwest, like here in Vegas, Arizona, what have you, Florida, and the mid-Atlantic region. As far as New England and quote-unquote flyover country, tough luck for now, but hopefully that does change. Real quick, let's talk about some of those other beers. First is Mountain Hound Huckleberry Cream Ale. That was a mouthful there. 4% ABV. If you've ever been up to Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, a little further to the northwest, you know that huckleberries are just all over the place. You go into like a little gift shop or tourist trap or wherever, there's huckleberry syrups and jams and preserves and little huckleberry knickknacks just everywhere. And they kind of proudly talk about that this is their flagship beer, and that it's not like a lot of other breweries. Most of their flagship beers are IPAs. Well, they have a huckleberry beer as their flagship beer, so that's something a little different. Next is Alpha Dog, 8% ABV. This is a double IPA, and understandably, I get the name Alpha Dog because it has an incredible 125 IBUs, so all you hop heads out there, definitely keep an eye out for this one. Next is Paw Print Pilsner. This is 5.7% ABV. This is basically their take on a classic kind of lawnmower style beer. This is probably the closest thing to a quote-unquote regular guy beer that they produce. Finally is Man's Best Friend, 6.2% ABV. Great name for a beer, and of course kind of goes along with the whole Laughing Dog concept. This is what they call a single hopped IPA. The hop that they use is Citra, which is a classic Northwestern style hop. Now, as far as this particular beer goes, I've had this beer for a little bit, and apparently they have changed the name of the beer, or right now that it's just called Pecan Porter. The newer version, I guess, is called Puppy Love. It's the same ABV, same IBUs. It's a pecan porter. They've changed the label and given it, I guess, an official name. Laughing Dog does not produce any ciders or hard seltzers or anything else. It roughly about 15 beers, and then just the food they serve at the tap room. They kept it nice and simple. Well, before we try this particular beer, though, let's check out the stats. So today I thought I would talk about the porter style of beer. I reviewed several porters and everything, but I really think it's an important style of beer that doesn't get enough love. Today you could find a porter in most breweries. A lot of times now they're pastry porters, and they've got, you know, cheesecake and donuts and whatever. You don't see a lot of just straight porters anymore, but they're a classic style. They're very important in the history of beer, so I thought I'd talk about it today. First, let's kind of go over the numbers. This is for an English style, the classic style porter. SRM 20 to 35, brown to dark brown but not black. SRM 20 to 30, or an IBUs, I meant, sorry about that. 20 to 30. There's going to be some hop bitterness, but it's not the most predominant feature. And ABV 4.5 to 6%. Here in the States, we tend to make them a little higher in alcohol. Like I said, this is the classic version. And when this style of beer came out, beers tended to be lower, a little more sessionable. 2 and 3% actually was fairly common. And part of it was the way they taxed beer at England in the time. It was hard to measure alcohol, so it was tough to tax that way, but they would tax you on the amount of malt that went in, so kind of an indirect way of taxing alcohol. This has a kind of bigger bodied, very thick mouthfeel. The finish is medium plus. It's going to linger on your palate a little bit. As far as hop bitterness, medium, you're going to notice it, but it's not a predominant feature. As far as hop flavor and aroma, those tend to be low, but they are present. This style was developed in the 1700s and came at a time when science was starting to get involved and techniques were starting to grow, and kind of standardization in the industry started to grow. This is also kind of the first darker beer. They were finally perfecting how you roasted the grains, and so they were understanding the concept of affecting the color. This beer was a predecessor to the stout. The original stouts were known as stout porters. Also, a porter was kind of the first beer to ever really spend some time aging. You would use wooden barrels to move beer around, but you generally drank them fairly quick. You didn't age beer at the time, and because, again, they were kind of lower ABV beers, they just weren't going to stand up to any kind of time in the barrel, but this porter kind of changed that. Also, too, porters kind of became the first kind of worldwide style. Most styles were kind of regional. You know, Czech Pilsner was done in Czechoslovakia, and they weren't doing it in France, and they weren't doing it in India, and, you know, some of the classic just English ales were done there, you know, especially with their style of water. You know, a German, you know, not box, but German style beers were, you know, everything was kind of regional, but this kind of first recipe that kind of got around, and partly because this was a beer that you could export. It had enough hardiness to it that you could export. And before you knew it, it was being made here in North America. It was being made, of course, in England, across Europe, and even into Russia. So it was kind of the first international beer style. Well, with that being said, let's drink a porter. All right, this is pretty dark brown. Yeah, this is probably a little darker than a standard porter. And again, here in the U.S., I think we ramped this style up a little bit compared to the actual British style. Also, too, remember this is a pecan porter, so this is more almost a dessert style porter. Let's give her a nose. Oh boy, that malt hits real quick. Just a slight hint of the pecan. Nice little dark khaki head. Let's give her a try. Oh, that's nice. I don't know how much pecan I'm picking up. I picked up a little on the nose, but I'm not getting a lot on the taste. Definitely a full-bodied beer. Definitely a mouthful. A lot of the malt sweetness up front. I'm picking up a lot of chocolate. This almost comes off more as a chocolatey stout in a way. A little sweeter, like a true stout, especially like your dry stouts, are almost stringent with the really dark coffee espresso type of malts. These seem a little softer chocolate type of dark malts. So I'm not getting that stringency, but still really a lot of those dark notes, but also really a lot of chocolate sweetness to it. Pretty good beer. Don't get a lot of pecans, but
overall well executed. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or beers that you'd like me to try, please leave me in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.